get ready for some upbeat banter, plenty of laughs, and a whole lot of love for the game and our team. This is Buds and Blue Jays. And now your hosts, Riley McConnell and Jesse Burrell.
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, August 9th, and welcome to episode 201 of Buds and Blue Jays. It's Jesse Burrell, joined once again by Jesse Teresa. Third time's the charm, my guy. We're expected to have Riley McConnell back soon, but he needs a break just like everyone out there in this world. He is no exception. Today on our show, boy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been absolutely insane. He continued his hot streak in this series. We will dive into all that, what it means for him and this team going forward, and so much more. Plus, we have notes on Mark Shapiro's press conference about the future of the Toronto Blue Jays team with Ross Atkins and so much more. And then we will preview the A series as well. But Jesse, my man, early morning for us here on the live streams and whatnot. How you feeling this morning?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's definitely an early one, but we got to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. The content never stops. And sometimes, hey, with the Blue Jays playing games as quick and as often as they do, sometimes we got to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and do stuff like this. But anyways, start your day with some Blue Jays content with us here. And Jesse, without further ado, your player of the series in the Baltimore series. Take it away.
Is there anyone else but Vladdy?
It's got to be Vladdy, man. What a heater he's been on.
Oh, it's insane. And my crazy stat to kick it off is he's the first player since Chipper Jones to have about 500 average since like 2006 for a 20-game hit streak. And I have never seen a hitter like this since I didn't even realize Chipper Jones did this.
Right. Like you could almost make the argument what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has done over these last 20 games with the extra base hits and all that too. It might literally be the best hot streak a Blue Jays player has ever been on. Like I know we've had streaks where like Kendrys Morales homered in 7 straight games. We've had others, but what I am seeing from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. right now is better than anything we saw in his MVP runner-up season in 2021. It's been the best I've seen from a Blue Jays hitter probably since the mid-2000s. Like it's been absolutely insane what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been able to do. I think it frustrates us, Jesse, because we knew this guy was in here all the time, all those years through 2022, through 2023. We knew this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was in this guy, and it was so frustrating to see it not happen, but I'm glad we're finally getting to see it, and I really do hope he's unlocked something, not for the rest of this season, but for the rest of his Blue Jays career.
Oh, 100%. That's why at the beginning of the year, I was like, should we just get rid of him? Because I was so frustrated because I knew the 2021 Vladdy was still there. But It's like, embrace it. I guess him getting that haircut put some oxygen to his brain and like realize I need to carry this team and not rely on other players.
It worked absolute well. Like, I don't think it's going to be long before he starts getting that Aaron Judge treatment where he walks all the time. He had 5 hits in this series, a double, a triple, his first triple since 2021, by the way. 3 runs scored, 4 RBIs, walked twice, did not strike out a single time in this series, did Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's been absolutely insane what he's been able to do at the plate. If you include a couple extra caveats too, to go along with the Chipper Jones stat, like if you include his extra base hits, his walk, and his lack of strikeouts, he's doing stuff that only like the Murderers Rows Yankees have done. That is simply how good Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been. And it's a very real chance he finishes with MVP votes at the start of the year, which is something I don't think any of us really thought he was going to be able to do.
No, 100%. Like, I never thought I would see a hot streak like this by any player, let alone a Blue Jay. Like, this is, It feels like I'm playing a video game, like watching him play every game.
Yeah, he's doing it. Insane. He's doing it differently, too, than the way he did it back in 2021. He's really hitting that ball into right field. Like, he's soaring it away. It's something we've talked about on the show, how we want to see the Blue Jays pull the ball more. But Buck Martinez talked about this, too. He's like, that's not Vladdy's game. Like, Vladdy is at his best when he's driving that ball to the opposite field. And the Baltimore pitchers, I think, specifically knew that Vladdy was really going to the opposite field a lot, so they really tried to pound him inside with fastballs. But Vladdy has gotten so much better at his swing decisions. He was taking those pitches on the inside part of the plate, and then he was waiting until he got a pitch up and over the plate, which he did, and that's when he hit his double to left. He later did the similar thing with the home run in Game 3 in this series. That is the type of stuff you want to see. Be selective, wait for your pitch, get your pitch, and do damage when you get it. He's locked in, man. It's a thing of beauty to watch.
Oh, I know. I'm definitely enjoying this, even in this painful season it's been for us Jays fans. And the crazy thing, too, is that's his first home run with his dad in the stadium ever.
Yeah, which is wild because I remember seeing games with Vlad Sr. at the games before, but I guess we're not counting that time in Montreal when he was still a prospect. But first regular season game in Toronto, kind of cool, special moment. He pointed to his dad up in the stands too, and he was rounding the base, which was kind of neat.
Oh, it definitely was. And it's like, see, Dad, I can do it.
That's right. Well, good for him. One question on Vlad before we move on. What do you think this means going forward? Is this the guy we're going to see rest of season, or do we think it's going to come back to earth a little bit?
I wanted to hope, I hope it lasts the whole year, but even if he slows down a little bit and still has a OPS in the 900s and keeps it a 300 average, maybe he'll even get that 30 and 100 we were hoping for. This year is just next level, and if only he did this the whole year, maybe we'd be talking about being six games over 500, not below 500.
I mean, if you really look at it, he had a WRC plus of 99 in March and April. It's been 130 or better every month since. So he really has been doing it most of the year, which is very impressive. We'll touch on Vladdy a little later because I'm sure he's going to go hot against the Oakland A's pitchers too, and we'll talk about him on the next episode. Jesse, I wanted to give some love for my player of the series. And have you noticed what Alejandro Kirk has been doing at the plate lately?
Oh, definitely. He looks like the Silver Slugger from 2022. This is quite pleasant to see again, and him actually putting the ball in the air and just even all fields and with power and not just rolling it over for an easy ground out.
So in this series, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had 5 hits, 4 RBIs, walked twice, hit a home run. In this series as well, Alejandro Kirk, 5 hits, hit a home run, 4 RBIs, and walked 3 times for the Toronto Blue Jays. I thought it was even notable that in Game 2, when Alejandro Kirk wasn't catching, Brian Serven was catching, John Schneider still gave him some designated hitter time, which I thought was noticeable because they really have to do to get Alejandro Kirk's bat in the lineup. You mentioned it there, that he's pulling the ball. He's hitting it with a bit of authority now that he never used to. I looked those numbers up last night. Both his pull rate and his hard hit rate in the month of August are the hardest they've ever been in his career. And even in Game 1, if you remember, he launched a foul ball into the 500 levels. It was a rope. I don't think I've ever seen foul balls go up that far down the third baseline. And you thought, okay, that's something, Alejandro Kirk. 2 pitches later, home run left center field. And it was great. And he had a couple more hits in the finale here as well. Alejandro Kirk, look, we know the Silver Slugger guy has always been there. We know the tools have always been there, more walks and strikeouts and whatnot. I'm really starting to feel for the first time since that Silver Slugger year that there is a different type of hitter here in Alejandro Kirk, and maybe it just took a long, long time to come around, but he looks really good right now.
Oh, definitely, and maybe it's even, unfortunately, with Jason leaving, he's it's my team now, now I have my opportunity and not be oh, wait, I'm not playing today. It's he's not getting that consistency of playing and all that.
I still think the Blue Jays, in terms of roster construction, need to find another catcher. Brian Serven, thank you for the hit you got in this series, the single and the RBI, but you are not the answer for our second catcher here. So I would really like to see the Blue Jays get another catcher. But for now, we're more than okay giving Alejandro Kirk this run and seeing how far he can fly.
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely enjoying it. And maybe, who knows? It ain't over till it's over, but maybe we'll go on that heater and squeeze it into the third wild card. Yes, it's a lot of work, but you never know. We've seen crazier things happen.
Hey, the Blue Jays playoff odds have gone from 0.1% to 0.2% after this series. So moving in the right direction if you believe there's a chance still.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. All right. Jesse, did you have anyone else before we talk some starting pitching here on the position player side that caught your attention this series?
Definitely, just all around, our defense was pretty solid. And even Ernie Clement, just some of the plays he was making at short, the one play he made where he got I believe it was Mountcastle just by the hair of step, but just the cannon he let go at on that ground chopper to short. He's really showing that he's here to stay too. And I've been calling him an all-star at the beginning of the year, and this is why I was so high on him. And he's just does it all the he's a lunchbox type of player, your favorite player, Travis Snyder.
Different skill set between Ernie Clement and what Travis Schneider had, but absolutely. He played 3 different positions in the series: shortstop, third base, and second base. It's the first time I remember seeing Ernie Clement play second base in quite a while for this team.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he looked fine. Made
I
all
think
the
it was like
plays.
early in the year that when he played second, but like he definitely didn't show any rust there.
Yeah, he looked good, made all the plays. Dalton Varsho, another great catch in the outfield in game 1 of this series, which had like a less than 50% catch probability. He is absolutely insane. And Joey Loperfido in his first home game in the Blue Jays made a nice diving catch out in left field as well. So I wanted to give him some props there as well. And yes, I want to talk Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s defense, but we'll do that a little bit later in the show. In terms of the offense, I had 3 struggling Toronto Blue Jays I wanted to make sure I mentioned here. First one, Joey Loperfido, 5 more strikeouts in this series, struck out in 62% of his at-bats. He has not looked good at the plate since becoming a Toronto Blue Jay. I don't have his exact strikeout rate here, but it's not good. He has struck out a lot since joining the team. And George Springer, remember that little hot streak he went on, and we thought, hey, all right, George Springer has turned things around. Well, in his last 15 games, he's hitting 173 with 1 extra base hit. And you want to talk about strikeouts. He struck out 20 times in those 15 games, has George Springer. Looks more the same old, chasing that slider down and away, getting jammed with fastballs. He looks a little bit lost again. And Spencer Horwitz, he's struggling too. In the finale, he went 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, and he only has a 588 OPS in that time with the last 15 games as well. Those 3 hitters, Jesse, George Springer, Spencer Horwitz, and Joey Loperfido. What do you got on them?
I will give Loperfido a little grace period. He is still getting accustomed to the new hitting strategies of like Hag, Martinez, and all that. So I'll give him a grace period. He is still very young, as well as like Horwitz and that. Where Springer, I can't really give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Father Time's finally catching up with him when it comes to the bat.
Mm-hmm.
The hot streak was great, but I feel like what we're seeing now is going to be what we're going to see, unfortunately, with the rest of his contract unless we move him.
I would argue that hot streak actually might have been one of the worst things for the Toronto Blue Jays, because now if you're Ross Atkins and you're the general manager, you're going to be like, look, George Springer had this hot streak. He's still the same guy. We know this guy's in here. And you're just going to ignore the 4.5 to 5 months where he's been absolutely dreadful, if not the worst hitter in baseball, which annoys me, because the Blue Jays, I don't think, are going to significantly try to upgrade in right field in the offseason because of the hot streak that George Springer went on. So it's tough to see.
Oh, it definitely is. And like he's taking away playing time from players like Barger or Loperfido or Baroa, who like I thought was going to be a big part of the second half with the speed and how he was playing in Arizona and that. Mm-hmm. Clearly, I was wrong there.
Right, because unless you're convinced the Blue Jays are going to compete next year, which I don't think either of us are, but the general manager seems to think that they are, I don't think George Springer is part of your next great Blue Jays team. You know who might be? Addison Barger, Stuart Baroa, guys like that, guys you want to see get a run here, so that way when that time comes, they are ready to perform. I'm with you there, buddy.
Exactly, and like even there's some players down in Buffalo, like Alan Roden, Will Robertson, even Cam Eden, like players like that could be like those impact outfielders who can have the run prevention that Atkins loves so much, but also can hit, like has the offensive side too, and not just an easy out.
I agree with you on that. And I wanted to throw some love to one more Toronto Blue Jays hitter at the plate, Dalton Varsho. We know he's been struggling. He's been kind of just meh all year. He did have 4 hits in this series, went 4 for 12, 3 of them singles, hit a double. A bunch of those hits came off a lefty. And we've talked about how pitchers have really been attacking Dalton Varsho on the outside part of the plate. That's what they've been going. 3 of those hits Dalton Varsho had in this series were on pitches on the outside. Some of them that he yanked through the ground ball to the right side. Some of them he hit for a line drive. Dalton Varsho is making an adjustment again, which is good, which is what you want to see. You don't want to see a guy get caved in. So I thought that was worth noting as well. Anything else on the position player side before we talk starting pitching?
Well, I think we've nailed everything with the position players and all that. Let's talk about the actual surprisingly good starting pitching we had all series.
Yeah, Blue Jays had 3 starts in this series, and all 3 of them were... Oh, hold on. No. Slow down. We haven't talked about Leo Jimenez. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot this. But 3 doubles in game 3, and then he had another double in game 4. Just really quick, there have been 5 Blue Jays rookies who have had 3 extra base or 3 doubles in a game. Can you name one of them aside from Leo Jimenez? It's going to be tough.
Bo Bichette
didn't do it in the same game. He was he did get on a hot streak as a rookie. He didn't get it. Do you have another guess, or should I just give you the answers?
This might be a way because he didn't hit much, but Ryan Goins.
Ryan Goins didn't do it either. One of them was the Blue Jays' only rookie of the year we've ever had.
Good old Eric Hinske.
Eric Hinske was one of them. The other names for Blue Jays who have had 3 doubles in a game, Sean Green, Kevin Cash, and Rowdy Tellez are all the Blue Jays who have done that as rookies. So nice notable names there.
Yeah, and one's now a manager of one.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we'll always have that, Kevin Cash. Thank you. All right, let's move on to starting pitching. And the Blue Jays did get 3 pretty good starts in this series. We'll start, well, I guess I'll give you the lines for all 3, Jesse, and you can tell me which one you want to talk about first. Chris Bassitt had a very nice bounce back start after about 6 or 7 subpar ones in a row. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts for him. Bowden Francis battled pretty good. He had 5 innings pitched. He went 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts in his appearance. And then Kevin Gausman in the finale went 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Jesse, who gets your eye first? Francis, Chris Bassitt, or Kevin Gausman?
I definitely have to say Chris Bassitt because I was hearing in the broadcast like July was his worst like statistical month he's ever had in his career, and he come back pretty much had a no-hitter going to the 6th inning until Jackson Holiday hit that homer. But he was just carving up a team that usually feasts off him. Like, or the Orioles last year was just dummy to Bassitt all year, and just seeing him finally dominate a lineup like that, it felt good to see that. And it gives hope for next season.
Chris Bassitt does it so differently than everyone else too. He's really good at like darting in and darting out, and when he is on, he is absolutely making batters look foolish. I have his stats month by month, and it's kind of wild here. In terms of like, just take his whip alone or whatever stat you want to do, or we'll do ERA because that's good. April and March, he had a 5.64 ERA. Then in May, it was 2.40. In June, it was 1.95. He looked great. Then July, in 5 starts, he goes 1-4 with an ERA of 7. And then so far in August, it's 2.57 for the month and is just 2 starts. So Chris Bassitt has very much been the yo-yo. It's been very bad. Then he gets these flashes of dominance, and then he comes back and just looks very hittable. I don't know what to do with a pitcher like that going forward. Like, how can you predict when and if it's going to be good for Chris Bassitt, or are we just flipping a coin every time it comes up and hope we get a good one?
It's the story of his career. Like, I know like his career ERA is about 3.5, give or take. And he was known to always have like several good starts and 1 blow up, like at least 3 blow ups per season. But it feels like this year it's been more than like normal. But I definitely can see him. Yes, he is some veteran, but like wouldn't put him in the top of our rotation for next season. I'm putting him more in like the 4 or 5 spot, just in the back end where like it's kind of less pressure. And like if we sign like a free agent pitcher to say like Shane Bieber, he could slide in the 3rd. You move down Bassitt, it could work, and like so he doesn't have that pressure of being that top 3 pitcher.
I think I'm with you with the blow up starts. I remember his first year in Toronto. I think he had 3 dreadful starts. Every other start he had was quite good. So I think we want to see those blowout starts be limited because you have no chance of winning those ones. If you can keep even your bad starts to maybe 3 or 4 earned runs from Chris Bassitt and limit the damage there, then you are in a good shape. I can't wait to dive into him in the offseason and see what we can uncork with Chris Bassitt. I wanted to talk about another starting pitcher in the series, Bowden Francis, Jesse, and I still very much believe in Bowden Francis. I think he is fantastic. Like, if you just look at his numbers down from what he's done in Buffalo this year, he has a whip of like 0.7, an ERA around 1. Like, he goes down there, he shows he can dominate, and his starts at the big league level have been hit and miss. But I'm leaving his start here encouraged. I really like the 7 strikeouts he got, and only 3 hits allowed. Did give up a home run when only walked 1. With Bowden Francis, the big thing is that fastball velocity. Right, when he's throwing 95, like the numbers, well, any pitcher, the harder usually the better. But with Bowden Francis specifically, when that 4-seam fastball is throwing up at 95, he's got so much more separation between that and his other pitches. He turns into a much better pitcher. His fastball velocity has slowly kind of dipped down throughout the course of the year. So I want to keep an eye on that. Maybe he is getting tired. He has had a pretty heavy workload so far this season. And he in this start particularly, he stopped throwing the curveball as much, started throwing more of his splitters, more of his changeup, and he got really good results on that. So if we see more of that coming, plus if the fastball velocity ever does tick up for Bowden Francis, I think there's a legit starting pitcher in here, and it's something to worth watching going forward.
Well, definitely, and that's why I thought he'd be a top 10 Cy Young. Like, seeing him coming out of spring, I was so excited to see what he could do and be that dark horse, come out of nowhere, kind of how Manoah was in 2022. Like, we had the hype for him, but we didn't think he'd be a Cy Young candidate. Then, I heard something too, in the offseason, he was working on that splitter we were seeing and all that, but he also had a cutter, but he's scrapped it. But I feel like if he implements that cutter, it'll be a game changer, and he could turn himself into a bona fide ace of a rotation. If he brings that cutter in before he gets righties or lefties, it could be a game over.
I agree with you, man. I'm actually quite excited to see what we can get from Bowden Francis going forward. I hope we get him in this rotation and he can go on a bit of a run here going to the next season. Jesse, find something you love more than Chris Bassitt loves pitching at home in Toronto. 8 innings pitched in this one. I thought he might have came out for the 9th. Maybe he should have in retrospect after seeing what the bullpen almost did in the 9th of this one. But his last start at Rogers Center, he went 9 complete game. This time he comes in, he throws 8 shutout innings, 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts for Chris Bassitt or for Kevin Gausman in this one. I have some thoughts, but I want to get your thoughts first on Chris Bassitt in this start. Or not Chris Bassitt, Kevin Gausman.
I was going to say Bassitt didn't go away, but Gausman, again, him pitching at home is completely different than what he's been doing on the road. It's crazy the last few starts. I really wanted him out in the 9th, and he probably should have by how the 9th went. And we'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk about our bullpen.
Yep.
But Gausman was showing again. This is why we paid him money. Why we all believe he's our ace of the rotation and all that. Do I think it's because of the shoulder injury why he's been so inconsistent? Probably, but it's nice to see what we Gausman of who we thought he was supposed to be, and just the dominance of an Orioles team, his old franchise. It was always almost like a revenge game in a way.
I do like that the guy can come out and he can still come out and pitch well when maybe the things aren't going at his best. I will say I felt more encouraged with Kevin Gausman after his previous start than I did with this one because only got the 2 strikeouts. I think 9 of his first 10 outs or whatever were fly balls that were caught. I do want to say, though, he had a very low BABIP in this game, and I think Kevin Gausman only allowed 1 line drive all game in this start. The rest were ground balls or fly balls out. It's kind of weird seeing Kevin Gausman be this pitch to contact pitcher that he was in this game, but you've got a good defense behind you. Maybe this is what the aging curve of Kevin Gausman looks like, right? We've seen pitchers as they get older have to adjust to change styles to be good. Maybe this is the changing of the guard we're seeing from Kevin Gausman, because if he can't get those strikeouts and he can't get those whiffs, maybe this is how he's going to be effective and be a good starter late into his career. Something worth monitoring going forward.
No, I definitely agree. And even I'll use the former Jay. Look how Ryu, when he got older, he didn't have the stuff like he did when he first came in with the Dodgers. He relied on more his defense to get him through the innings. Even in Bassitt, your defense is your best friend.
And the Blue Jays, supposed to played really good defense. So I thought that was interesting. Anything else on those 3 starting pitches before we talk about the bullpen?
It was just a great pleasure to see actual good starting pitching and no blow-ups per se in the back end of the games, but that wasn't even our starters.
Yeah, it's amazing. We get 3 good starts in this series, and I don't think it's an accident we take 2 out of 3. I think that's very well correlated. Good starting pitching and winning baseball games goes a long way. The bullpen, Jesse, depresses me, not going to lie, so I don't want to spend much time on this, but I have this segment called The Good, The Meh, and The Ugly, and I think you already know which relief pitchers fall into which category. We'll start with the good. Chad Green, 2 more saves in this series. Did give up 2 hits and a run in Game 3, but got the job done. Game 1, 3 up, 3 down, 2 more saves for Chad Green. Genesis Cabrera came in to relieve Bowden Francis, walked 1, but was able to get out of it. In game 1, he walked 1 as well, and then struck out 2. And that was on paternity leave for Genesis Cabrera. So congratulations. Hope all that goes well. Enjoy your time with your newborn. The meh, Eric Swanson, 3 batters faced, gave up a hit, got the other 2. Yeri Rodriguez went 3 up, 3 down on only 7 pitches. And the ugly, and there are a lot of names in the ugly for the Blue Jays bullpen. Zach Pop faced 3 batters, didn't get a single out. Ryan Yarborough gave up 3 runs, only got 2 outs. Ryan Burr gave up a mammoth home run to Jackson Holliday, who I am not looking forward to seeing play against us for the next few years, and then was punching shit in the dugout. Jesse, the bullpen. What do we got here? Fix it for us, will you?
Well, you can put Zach Poop down the toilet. You can put Ryan Burr in the freezer because he's cold as ice.
Love that.
And Yarbrough is just Yarbrough. Like, there's nothing much more about to say about Ryan Yarbrough.
Guy throws 85 from the left side. Are we really expecting much, right?
No, like, if we wanted that, we could have had Aaron Loop.
Sure. In fact, I wonder what he's doing these days. I'd have to look that up. He's probably hurt, knowing pitchers, but sure. Yeah. Reunite with him there. I don't want to spend much time on the bullpen. It's bad. It's the worst part of this team. There are going to be pitchers throwing through the waiver wires. I hope the Blue Jays sign at least 3 or 4 of them before the season is over. Jesse, before we talk about Ross Atkins' comments, I want to talk a little bit about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on defense. We've praised his offense so much at the start of the season. He got a start at third base in this series. And I want to say, I think we should be done with the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at third base. Like, he's shown that he can stand there in a pinch, maybe late in the game, right? If you pull your third baseman and you need to move him over there, sure. But I don't think there's any reason we need to be starting Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at third base anymore. The numbers say he's bad. He had a ball get right through him. He threw a ball up the right field line in this series. The whole reason we put him at third base in the first place to begin the year was because we wanted to get Daniel Vogelbach and Justin Turner in the lineup. When he was at third base today, it was so we could start Brian Serven and Alejandro Kirk. Like, the Blue Jays don't have enough bats that you need to be that flexible to get another bat in there. I think the experiment of Vlad at third base should be done if the Blue Jays are serious about putting their best team forward.
No, 100%. Like, it was cool to see him there again after, like, since his rookie year. He's made a couple good plays in his time there, but you're a first baseman. Like, yeah. Like, you're going to get paid as a first baseman. You're not a third baseman. So, like, again, it's like, if we need you in a pinch, sure, but you're not starting games if I was the coach.
Right. Like, I don't want the fact that the Blue Jays think they can put Vlad at third stop them from trying to acquire a power-hitting third baseman in this offseason, right? Because I think that would be a mistake.
No, exactly. Like, get a power-hitting third baseman, or you just use one of our kids, like Orelvis, Barger, like any of our kids, even Ernie Clement, I play at third over Vladdy.
Yeah, and I mean, Vladdy's got to be in the lineup, but Spencer Horwitz can play second. You don't have another amazing first baseman on the roster right now, right? So it seems to make a lot of sense. Let's end the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at third base segment there.
No, exactly. The only way I keep Vladdy, let Vladdy play third is if we sign Pete Alonso, but I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, and even if you do sign Pete Alonso, Spencer Horwitz plays second base. One of them can DH all the time. It still works. You can still make it happen without one of them having to be the third baseman. So I'm with you. Like, let's stop this, John Schneider. Come on, stop being cute.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's be serious for once.
All right. Well, let's get into some big picture stuff with the Toronto Blue Jays here, as we've broken down that series, a positive series, a series we liked. Anytime we beat the Orioles is a good series in my books here. Mark Shapiro spoke to the media for the first time since March. And whenever the president speaks, you should probably listen. And I have a couple quotes, couple paraphrases that he made about the team in the future, Jesse. And I just wanted to get what your thoughts on there. What is he trying to say? Because a lot of this is corporate mumbo jumbo. You know how they speak, where they say a lot of nothing, but it talks for like 2 minutes. But I want to see if you can tell me what Mark Shapiro was trying to get at with some of these comments. Do you follow?
Definitely.
Okay. So this is the first one, and it was about the future of general manager Ross Atkins. Shai Davidi had an article about probably 2 weeks ago now saying that they thought a change was imminent at the GM position, but ultimately they walked things back after the draft and at the trade deadline, and it sounds like Ross Atkins is going to finish the year as general manager. When Mark Shapiro was asked about this, He says they don't want to evaluate that stuff in season, but they said they also believe in stability and believe in things like there's a competitive advantage to keeping things around and not fluctuating things too much. What does that tell you about Ross Atkins' future as general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays?
I feel like it means he's going to be part of the organization next season. But I feel like they'll maybe move him up to say a VP of player operations, and you have James Click finally slide in to be our general manager, kind of like how they moved Dave Fudge to the development center.
Mm-hmm.
Have a move back into more of a front, higher place in the front office, beside Shapiro, and then just let Click do his magic, click on the right players.
Nice. I love the pun. It was fantastic. It didn't scream like a vote of confidence for me, which is interesting because, I really thought he'd go back and he'd back his buddy and be like, no, we're with you. We got him. This is our guy. It didn't get that to me. So I think the jury is still out on what to do with Ross Atkins. I think you're right. They're not going to fire him. They'll probably just rearrange him somewhere else in the organization. But I thought it was interesting dynamic there with Ross and with Mark Shapiro, and figuring that move out of who's going to run this ship is probably priority one for the Toronto Blue Jays going into the offseason. Mark Shapiro was then asked a question about what do you do about possible extensions for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette? And here is his comment. He said, quote, "I'm not going to comment on those guys specifically, but it certainly is easier to build a sustainable championship team with talent like that in place for extended periods of time." What is your thought on that quote from Mark Shapiro?
That they're getting it all typed up and waiting for the offseason to get put pen to paper.
Really?
And if I'm Shapiro, I would give Vladdy a blank check and say, put your amount, let's do it.
Wow. You sound way more confident than I do about the possibility of these long-term extensions, because once you get this close to free agency, unless you are severely overpaying, which maybe the Blue Jays do, both sides are kind of incentivized to let them go to free agency. Like if you're Vlad's camp, why wouldn't you want the other teams coming in and trying to offer you more? If you're Bo Bichette's camp, get other teams, get the bidding war up and try to increase it. This quote was interesting to me because, one, it's true. You are more likely to build a championship team when you have good players. That's just common sense. He's also kind of pandering to the fans a little bit because I feel like that's something we want to hear our general manager say, that they're trying to look into these guys. But I also didn't hear any full commitments, nothing that said, hey, yep, this is going to happen. We believe in these guys long-term, which does raise a little bit of a red flag in me.
Oh, definitely hearing that, thinking like that. Yeah, I definitely could see some red flags there because he would have said, Vlad and Bo are our cornerstones. They're going to be here. Give us that certainty, but who knows? Maybe one of them be traded and to bring that other cornerstone, trade, or they'll sign Bregman and trade for some Bo for another tough shortstop, a JP Crawford or something like that.
Sure. And if you let Vlad or Bo walk in free agency, you're going to spend another decade trying to find the next Vlad or the next Bo. So you might as well. You've already got him in-house. Keep him around. Just seems like the smart thing to do. Anyways, I got one more quote for this one, and it's about the topic of the Toronto Blue Jays trying to contend in 2025, which we've discussed on the show seems like a dumb idea, but the Blue Jays have been very committed to this bid of we're going to run it back in 2025. So he said this quote, "We believe there is enough talent in place to build a contending championship caliber team next year. Had we not, we would have made a different set of decisions at the trade deadline." So before I finish the quote, it means they've thought about it. They've analyzed this team. They decided, no, we need to keep the Vlad and Bo. We just quickly retool and we go on. Okay. And I'll continue the quote here. "With that being said, work will need to be done to make sure we continue to develop the players here, identify players that can contribute both in our system and the ones that aren't here, and understand what to expect from veteran players, and then do a better job of putting that all together and supplementing externally. So there's a lot of work to still be done before we can make definitive statements about 25, but the intent to compete is clear." So what do you take about that quote from Mark Shapiro?
How I was feeling even last episode in that, I was they need that perfect blend of people kind of how they had the group of Lourdes, Teoscar, and all the Spanish boys back a few years back where we were actually having success offensively. They want to have like that blend of continuity, like more of a team, like a family, than just individuals trying to get their paychecks and all that. Where
you want you want them to play as a team, right?
Be a team, like a family, like teams that are like close and like look at I'll use the 04 Red Sox. They were called the Dirtbags because they all had to were all similar and just had the same mindset, and they went all out. Like, you need that to win championships. You need to be all on the same page.
My argument's going to be that it doesn't matter how much good clubhouse guys you have, as long as you're winning, the clubhouse is going to be great. Like that 2015 Toronto Blue Jays team that won the AL East, there were a lot of dickheads on that team in that clubhouse. And, but because they were winning games, the clubhouse chemistry was fine. I think what I take away from this is that he's talked more about building a lineup that complements each other, maybe getting different types of tools of hitter. Maybe we really see the Toronto Blue Jays go out and try to get like a speed guy, a glove guy, and then try to get some specific power mashers. Like, I really think the lineup that we're going to see in 2025 is going to have several different types of hitters in it, and that maybe they try to play off. So therefore, one certain type of pitcher can't come in and shut down this lineup completely. And I think that's what Mark Shapiro was trying to get at here. Whether or not it's going to work is a different story, but I'm reading between the lines is what I'm thinking he's trying to get at for this team.
Oh, definitely. Like, they need a blend of different styles because, like we were saying last episode, speed, defense, all those. That's how you win. Like, even the power. Like, you just need the mesh. Like, you need slap hitters, you need pole hitters, you need every type of different hitter to have success offensively, and not just let's throw a flamethrower and throw high heat.
Yeah,
you're not going to they won't hit it. So if you have someone who can hit the high ball or low balls, then you'll have the success and be able to win more games.
Yeah, you want to make the opposing pitcher come in and think really hard about how he's going to attack your lineup, make the pitcher go to his weakness so you can damage his mistakes. And there has been too many times this season where other pitchers have been able to come here, stick with one game plan and shut this Toronto Blue Jays team down. And that needs to get better going forward into next season. Jesse, before we preview the Oakland series and get out of here this morning, just give me a number. How long is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s hit streak going to go to?
I'm going to say 26.
26. So he gets hits through the Oakland series, and I believe we go out to LA to play the Angels. And you think it's going to last through there?
Oh, I definitely think so because it is the Angels, and they're not the greatest pitching staff, but I'll say 26 or 27 to match his number.
I like that. I'm trying to Google what the longest hit streak in Blue Jays history was. I think it's Sean Green had 28 games in 1999. Let's get crazy. Say Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I'm going to say he gets to 31. 31 games with a hit for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's what I'm going to go with for them there. All right. Oakland on tap. One of my bold predictions at the trade deadline was I thought that the Oakland A's were going to finish with more wins rest of season than the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays just happened to win a series, but Oakland A's have looked really good. This is not the same Oakland A's team we would have thought at the start of the series. It's going to be very interesting. I wish Riley was here on this episode because I know he's got a soft spot for the Oakland A's. He really does like them. But what are you watching for in this series at home against Oakland starting tonight?
Definitely the Vlad versus Rucker head-to-head matchup because
Rucker's been awesome too. Yeah,
they both have been awesome, and Rucker's doing this at only $750,000. So. You're literally getting bang for your buck with him, but it should be two elite hitters going head to head. Should be a good show for the fans, and also I'm wondering if there's going to be another pitcher tackling one of the Oakland players.
Yeah, Yusei Kikuchi isn't here anymore, so Tyler Soderstrom, you're safe. You don't have to worry about that. The probable pitching matchups in this series: Jose Barrios will get Mitch Spence in tonight's game. We have Yariel Rodriguez against Osvaldo Bido in game 2, and then Chris Bassett against JP Sears on Sunday. I need to see a good start from Jose Barrios, plain and simple. I'm very worried about his production. We've talked about him in episodes after his last start. We need to see signs of life from Jose Barrios, and I really do hope this matchup against Oakland is a way to go. If he gets shelled and he gives up 2 or 3 more home runs again, then boy, it's going to be rough for Jose Barrios. So I really think tonight's game might be the most prominent one for Jose Barrios.
Oh, definitely. I would love to see him turn back the clock to the beginning of the season and just go on a run like that just to end the season. Then will be fooled again. But like, if he can figure out what he was doing there, it could be a fun little stretch run for him if he can get back to what he had at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. And some of the Oakland relievers, like no Mason Miller in this series. Brent Rooker is really their only guy that I'm really worried about in their lineup. This should be a spot where the Blue Jays can win 2 out of 3, if not get a sweep in this series again as well, if you still care about wins for the Toronto Blue Jays. Do you have a prediction? A player to pop, a pick to click for this weekend series against Oakland?
Like, the easy answer is Vlad, but I feel like it's going to be the Aston Barger show. Well, if not, it'll be Aston Barger or Loperfido. Those are my two that I feel like can really pop off like against like pretty much AAA pitching. So,
and we know Joey Loperfido has seen Oakland quite a bit so far with his long time in Houston. His last 3 games against Houston, he hit a home run in last one. So maybe this is a good series for Joey Loperfido to get his first home run as a Toronto Blue Jay. I would love to see it. That's going to do it for our early episode here today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Early morning podcasting, new for us. It's wild. I just woke up. You're just about to go to bed. It's been very wild trying to get the schedules to mix here. We're hopeful to have Riley McConnell back soon, maybe for the next episode. If not, it might be another week or so, but it won't be long before we get him back in here and so much more. Jesse, was there anything else you wanted to shout out before we head out of here today?
Nope. Have a great weekend. Let's go Jays, and thanks for everyone for listening.
Yep. Appreciate it, guys. We will see you after this Oakland series, likely late on Sunday night. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on the channel, like and subscribe anywhere you can get your podcast, leave a 5-star review, all that fun stuff, and we'll interact with you on there. Until next time, for Jesse Teresa, I am Jesse Burrell. Have a good night, and let's go Blue Jays.
Let the kids play.